Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of The Life of Gibby, where we discuss the life of me, Gibby. Today in the Gibby world, it's a very chilled out environment and we're comfy and cozy because it's cloudy in May. Today I'm actually going to be sharing a poem with you, and I wrote this poem in regards to the 10-year challenge because I thought about it for a while whether I should post a 10-year challenge picture or not, because I struggled very strongly with what I looked like 10 years ago. I mean, that was 2009, so it was my freshman year of high school. That was kind of like the tip of the iceberg when things started to go downhill for me. So it's just a very hard time for me to embrace. But in the spirit of what I've been sharing with you guys and learning to love yourselves, that's been one of my biggest challenges, is learning not only to love my present self, but to have compassion and love my past self. And yeah, we'll just jump into it. I'm going to be reading it off my phone because I don't have it memorized, but here you go. If I could go back in time and talk to my younger self, I would have so much to say. But I know those words would just go away once I saw the immense sadness in that 14-year-old's eyes. So I'd just hug her and cry with her and tell her it's so unfair. It's so unfair you have to go through this pain, and it's okay to cry it out, baby girl. It's okay to feel this way. What you're experiencing is confusing and lonely, and the road ahead is filled with bumps and potholes and cracks that the city has yet to fill, so you might even get stuck in a few of them, but it's okay. I would hold her so tight because I know it was hard for her to feel anything beyond the pain in her heart, and she needed someone to have a tight grip on her because she was losing hold of herself and reality. I would hold her head up and look into her eyes and say, I see you. I see the pain, I see the desperation, and I also see the strength you have to fight this battle. Soon enough, you will face obstacles that will seem impossible to overcome. You will learn that you have a very confusing illness, which you will then have to educate your family about. You will experience one of the worst things a person can experience, and people will blame you. You will blame you and say that you deserved it, but you didn't. You never did. You will try to destroy your body as a means of coping, and I wish I could protect you from it all. The ignorance of other people, the hurtful words that they would say that circle in your head, and even until this day. But I would never want to take away the courage that you have developed by taking on life when you felt like no one was on your side. Because one day you will share your story with the world and change lives. You will inspire people, encourage people, and be an example of what kindness looks like. I cannot even comprehend the amount of crap we went through, even though I walked through it too. We fought through the pain, walked through the fear, stumbled along the way, but we're still here. Even after all of that, we're able to smile, feel actual happiness, and laugh until it hurts. And if I could say one last thing to you, it would be you are so courageous, so outspoken, and have such a genuine heart. You don't deserve to die, baby girl. We need more people like you in this world. Okay, so that was a very personal poem. I don't know if you guys completely comprehend everything because it has personal trials that I went through and I guess inside stories. The point of me sharing this with you is not to share my poetry. This is one of my coping skills that I use, which is when you are going through depression, it's hard to have compassion for yourself, because that's kind of what depression does, is make you feel like you're not worthy of anything. So pretty much writing to my younger self, I have so much compassion for that little girl who was struggling. When my SI is really high, I read that poem and I have to recount the trials I went through in order to give myself some credit and be able to understand that it's okay to have episodes and to feel sad. And I get so frustrated at myself when I have PTSD episodes because I feel like I should be over it by now, but it still holds such heavy weight and it comes up for me, and I still cry randomly and just have flashbacks, and it's so hard to deal with, and I get frustrated because it is something that I feel I should have overcome by now, and I have overcome it to a certain point. I mean, progress is not linear, neither is healing, so I need to give myself that credit. I definitely feel like part of me was taken away during that time, and I need to acknowledge that. pretty much what I'm recommending is that you write a letter to your younger self, because a lot of our issues stem from things that happened during our childhood. For instance, I struggle with my body image like immensely, because I was told at a very young age that I was too fat to wear a two-piece bathing suit. And when I was told that, I completely internalized that, and I think that was the first time I felt like I didn't meet people's standards and I wasn't accepted. And there's no way I can go back to the past and talk to the person who said that and say like, hey, you're talking about a 5-year-old girl here. Why are you making fun of her? She doesn't control her diet, and like she doesn't control how her body's developing, so why don't you shut your mouth? Yeah, you can't do that. But as an adult, I can take care of my younger self's needs and have compassion for that little girl when no one else did. It's important that I stand up for my younger self because no one else was able to do that, and I needed to do that now. Which is why I write letters or poems to my younger self or to the people who hurt me, just to get it out there. When you have depression, it's like a tornado of horrible thoughts. When you're able to write it down and put it on paper, it kind of organizes it, and you're like, oh, okay, so this is why I feel this way. So that either I can work on it in therapy, or I can just kind of process it further now that I have a direction to where I'm going. Writing letters is a great tool. Actually, while we're on the subject of PTSD, one of the biggest steps I've ever taken was in the hospital. I was like, I need to get better. He had us write letters to people who hurt us, and there was 2 prominent people I talked about during our group session. So he said, I could pick one or the other. He pretty much said like, I would highly recommend you write to your rapist, but like, if you're not ready for that step, that's fine. Write to the other person because it's something that happened way in the past. And then he allowed us during our next group session to, it's called the invisible chair exercise, where you talk to a chair and you pretend that person is in there. So I actually ended up volunteering the last person to talk to my rapist then, and I had nothing prepared. But I can tell you, I didn't think I could get into the moment. You're in a group setting. I just thought I would see an invisible chair, but no, I saw that guy sitting right there. It was a lot happening. I was telling him, how much he took away from me, but how strong I am and how much I'm gonna stick it to him. Like, I'm just gonna be a better person and like do the best I can so that you won't win. I'm not gonna let you win. But you could hear the shakiness in my voice because I was terrified. I was terrified at the thought of ever seeing this guy again. That fear came out, but just to release that and to know that if he were actually there, I would be able to say what's on my mind, that took a lot of courage on my behalf. And it's hard for me to say these things like I'm courageous or I'm compassionate to myself. It's an unsettling feeling, which is something we as people struggling with our mental health have to accept, is being kind to ourselves. We deserve kindness. Our mind is mean enough, so we need to fight that and counteract that, and you need to do it on a daily basis. So yeah. I feel like we opened up so many little segues to talk about different things, but I want to keep this kind of short and simple. We're gonna end things here, but there's gonna be plenty to talk about. If there's something pressing on your mind right now, write it down in the comment what you want me to talk about, and I'll definitely make an episode about that. I highly recommend doing this exercise, guys. It's difficult and it's awkward, but it's great. And just keep being amazing human beings, compassionate to yourselves, working on yourselves, so keep fighting. Bye. I'll see you next time.